Hello and welcome back to the Macca's Talk Hockey podcast, a podcast where just me and my brother today are going to talk through English ice hockey, specifically the NIHL. Plenty to get through, and we've got an interview. We've got an interview with Jonas Bennett, and a great interview as well. 16 years old, but so mature. He talked through the GB campaign, his first under 20s with the GB. Getting into the Knights team, he had some funny stories as well. And yeah, just a great interview. Knights fans are going to love it. I think it's a great one for National League fans. And I know you haven't, we haven't had any players on recently, but a really nice one with Jonas. Charlie, a bit like the old days, just me and you this time.
Yeah, no, it's always nice. Dan plays football on Tuesdays,
Yeah,
and yeah, sometimes it's always difficult, a bit more difficult now to get everyone organised. I have church stuff Wednesdays, and if we don't do it Monday, can't get everyone. But no, it's been good. Enjoying life in Cardiff in a different city. Still feels like I'm a bit away from the hockey a lot of the time, more online than actually in
yeah, a lot of
person.
streams.
It's nice to get Jonas Bennett on because yeah, I think he's potentially been like breakout star of the national this
Oh,
year.
yeah,
Like
definitely.
the defenseman his age doing what he's doing. I don't know if he finished on it, but I know one game before under 20s he was top plus minus for
He
GB.
was top plus minus.
So he's one of them guys who he may not do all the flashy things, but he does all of the little things. And yeah, I think without putting too much pressure on him, his ceiling it could be the elite league. It really could. He's 16 years old, playing for one of the best National League teams, playing top 4 minutes. He's played next to Import, so it's cool to have him on. And I'm sure Jack did a good job interviewing him.
Yeah, he actually played with Jamie Smith at the GB under 20s.
Best under 20s defenseman in the game.
But no, they did really well. That was shown with the plus minus. But we're going to go through the news. There's been quite a few signings. A big one for Swindon. The fifth import for Swindon. They have joined the fifth import club. So we will give our honest opinions on that because I know there's a few people who want to hear that out. The semi-final. Congratulations to the Leeds Knights. Deserved to go through across the two legs, and we will talk about that. And then we'll wrap up with the weekend as well, because the league is still going on. And there is a semi-final starting this week between the Steel Dogs and the Phantoms. But we'll start with the Raiders import signing, adding Andrew Coxhead, and Charlie. They needed him. No Miller, Latram's out. They needed an import forward, and they bring this guy in. I think 6'3", 6'4", big guy. Played some games in the ECHL. Obviously, they went on strike, didn't they? Quite a lot of players left. And Andrew come to the Raiders. He scored just under a point per game in U Sports across his season. So a good little signing, and yeah, just a big power forward. I think they're adding to the team.
Yeah, I think the caliber of CV of imports coming to this league has really taken a step up in the last 2 years. And the fact that Raiders mid-season are signing a guy who scored 15, 20 points in the U Sports is really impressive. He's sadly come into a position where he's never going to replace Sean Miller, but they needed bodies. They needed guys who can put the puck in the net, guys who can score points. And from what I heard, he had a really good start to the season for himself for Romford this weekend. And yeah, he's going to play a good role. And I think it's pretty crazy how we went from having guys from the U Sports who were kind of the third liners to having top line guys from the U Sports
Yeah.
join our league consistently and regularly. I think it gives the league a lot more credit. And I think, yeah, another great. Romford are normally very solid at signing good imports.
Yeah.
They've not got the best track record of keeping them all the time. They've had a lot of seasons where they've had a three or four. But all the imports they sign do normally turn up in the national.
Yeah. Obviously I watched him on the Sunday. I'll talk a bit about that a bit later. I think he's still trying to adjust to the league, obviously his first weekend, and gave a few penalties away, but you know that they are quite soft in the National League and giving quite a few pens away, so he's going to have to adjust. And then the complete opposite, Swindon sign a small guy, the fifth import, Charlie, Caden Villegas, comes in, and we were both a bit surprised, because we've been so good this season, but we'll go through some of the reasons on why it does make sense. We will start by saying, I think both of us have said we'd prefer all the teams to have four imports. And because some teams don't have the luxury of signing five imports, and some of the fans from those teams might say that is a little unfair, and I do agree with that. But the likes of Sheffield and Leeds, who we're going to be competing with for this league title, have got five imports, Charlie. And I think Aaron's kind of had to go, right, well, we really need to get this league title, and we've got to try and match Leeds and Sheffield in what they're doing with the five imports. And that's exactly what we've done. And I think when an import of this caliber in Caden comes up, you can't turn it down. Just to put it in perspective, he played in the NCAA a couple years ago. He actually played with Union College, the same as Watkins, so that probably helps as well. He knows Tyler Watkins played with him. He outscored Tyler Watkins. He was the second top point scorer in, I think, his last season, nearly a point per game in the NCAA. And yeah, Charlie, a great player to add.
Yeah, it it's a weird one for me. It was a bit bittersweet because I don't agree with having five fit imports on a roster. I can happily stand there and say that one guy's got to sit out each night. But it seems like this is the way the National League is. Like I'll start off with I guess what instantly came to my head, and I didn't even look at Villegas. I'll go on to him in a minute. But I just feel we made a mistake in the EPIHL where we basically outspent the league on what it should have been, and we had too much of a lob side. And for me, it feels like we're going down that path again. That's just what I think. We've now got 4 or 5 teams with 5 imports on their roster. One team at the moment with 6, which is Solway, which you wouldn't expect. And I just think that, yeah, I'm worried that we could go down that path, which is why I've always said that, and I still stand on that. From the other perspective, for the point of career this guy's at, this is the best CV I've seen join the National League. It's disgusting. 29 points in the NCAA. That's gross. Like that is gross for the National League level. That is an elite league caliber import. Like 29 points in 36 games. He gets really low pims. Um, he did okay in the ECHL. That is literally just it's an absolute dog of a league. If you don't get kind of that favoritism by the coach early on, you're just dogging your way to play bottom six grinding minutes. And then he's come to the National League. It's a phenomenal signing. I see why Now's done it. I do get it. From a title charge perspective, the schedule's a bit heavy. You've just added a guy who on paper should get 100 points at the National League level. He's really, really good. He's a smaller guy, so he's got a lot of skill to his game. He's friends with Watkins, which takes away the kind of is he going to fit in? Because now can kind of say to Watkins, is this guy nice? Is this guy calm? Like whatever, and that would have done it out. And I think that showed on the first weekend. So from a CV perspective, I love it, and from making Swindon a better team, I absolutely love it. I'm not a fan of having 5 imports on a roster unless one of them's injured. That's just my
As I
personal.
said to you, I said, like, from a team point of view, you've got to do everything you can to win. But from a personal point of view, knowing the imports on our team, one of them's got to miss out this weekend. It was Malas, and I bet Malas was gutted. But then you've seen it work with Sheffield in the way they're rotating. So we'll have to see if that
It's
gets
more.
rotated.
It's not so much like I do get the import sitting out, and that does for. That's not always nice, but that's just life. You get the same in the NHL. Guys get scratched,
Yeah.
and guys have to sit out. But what annoys me is I just worry that we're going down the path which the EPL went down. When we had to split to the national one, I hope that's not the case, but there's a drastic difference between the fans MK get and the fans Romford get and maybe a Solway get. And I just don't want to see it get too big that Solway and Romford have to overspend to catch up. That's just what I'm hoping not to happen. And if it doesn't happen, great, sign imports. But yeah, I don't want it to get to that
We'll
point.
see if they do five next season. But yeah, great signing for the Wildcats. We'll see how it works with rotation. But my main point, this is the main one which I was chatting to someone with. if the Wildcats didn't sign a fifth import and the end of February, once the deadline's gone where you can bring in players, someone goes down injured and they're out for the rest of the season, you're stuck. You can only play three imports. Whereas if you've got the five imports signed, as Leeds and Sheffield do, Sam Dunn's out injured at the moment. It means Sobchak can come in and play. So if the Wildcats were to get an injury, they can have that guy to play. And he's been brought in, and Caden will play those 14 games, so he's eligible for playoffs as well. But yeah, we'll get into his first game of the weekend very shortly. And then the Solway Sharks signed what? It's a bit of a confusing one, isn't it, Charlie? Because we don't want to talk on their behalf, but they signed. Let me just get his name up.
Leon Prada.
What's that? Sorry,
Leon Prada.
Leon Prada, I think it was. You're right. And he comes in, great CV, and you look at
Yep.
it, the elite prospects, and you're seeing English. But then you look at the leagues, and he hasn't actually played in England, and I think he counts as an import, Charlie. So that would mean that Solway on the roster have six imports, and they had to scratch two, didn't they? With Bolton missing the weekend, whether he's still with Solway, we'll have to see. But yeah, good signing, Charlie. But we thought it was a Brit initially, didn't we?
If it was a Brit, it's an unbelievable signing for Solway, but now we know it's not. It, I think he can definitely improve. I think he's got more legs than a Jake Bolton,
Yeah.
and he's younger, obviously. But I don't see it as a dramatic improvement. I know he's a good player. He's got good stats in the Hockey Etan, and he's a decent level import D man at this league. There's nothing on him. I think he's a good player. But they again now they have to scratch an import each night. And so it's deciding, do we want to roll two import D, two import forward and
Yeah.
go more of a defensive approach? Or do we want to roll three import forward and one import D? It gives them that flexibility, but they had that with Bolton. I don't know whether they thought he was a Brit or not. I'm not sure. I'm hoping they didn't because that would have been a bit awkward. But yeah, I think in terms of, I think he can really light that up. I think Solway's best chance as a team is to have the two D men and then play a more altogether style hockey. But yeah, I really like his CV. I was disappointed when he wasn't a Brit because he's got the English thing, and if he was a Brit, oh my days, he would have been a weapon of a Brit. And I think he still technically is. He was born in England, but yeah, it's a decent little sign in. It just changes things around. I think it makes them have more legs. And it showed to work off this weekend. They won the game with him, and then they won the game without him. So
Yeah, we'll have to see how they rotate again with the five or six imports. We'll have to see. But yeah, good little signing. But I'm interested to see how it works. Because we all thought he was going to be a Brit. Finally, obviously, we talk about it in the Jonas Bennett interview, so we'll cut to that in a minute. But GB gets silver, and to be fair play to him, Charlie, because a lot of new players in that. They lost quite a few players from the previous ones, and they still come out with a silver medal, and they've only lost one game. So I think the team they've got this time, they might obviously they've got a couple who won't be able to play next year. I think the two Swindon lads, Jamie and Dylan, that was their last one, but they've got a good core now to try and build on for next year, and a silver medal in a lot of these first years of GB is not too bad.
yeah, they got quite yeah. It's a mix. You always each year obviously have guys go up. Brody Kay, Emil Osseken, butchered that one. Owen Bruton, Dylan Lipsey, Joe Lynch, and then what's his face? Carl Carruth from Solway. But yeah, some really good young talents in there. Uh, Again, I'd rave about Jonas Bennett. He's just the type of defenseman I want. Defense
Mm.
first. Really good. He had a great tournament by the looks of it. Another guy who had a really good tournament by the looks of it was Ben Clark Leach, the
Played
Swindon guy.
all five games.
Played all 5 games. Super talent in this league, and I mean that especially since the Basingstoke games. Brindley Cap stepped up as the top point scorer. I think he's really thrived off starting to get points back into his game at Telford. Be interested to see where he goes. And then the player of the tournament, Bailey Yates for Sheffield. Steel Dogs seems like a good talent. I hadn't heard much of him before he went to Steel Dogs, but Yeah, it's a decently positive. You always want to see GB get gold, but there was quite a lot of turnover in this team this
Yeah.
year. And considering they lost the first game as well, they managed to bounce back really well. And I think
It
for the
was the
first
second
time,
game. It was the second game, I think.
the second game, and I think for the first time in a while, I feel like we're getting a bit more British defensemen come through, which is nice.
Yeah.
I think we've really struggled on D in the last kind of 5 years when it comes to defensemen coming through. And it feels like there's a bit more juniors coming through in that D zone, which is really positive. So yeah, not bad. Well done, boys. Well done, young lads, whoever's watching.
Yeah. We'll cut actually. Yeah, we'll cut to the Jonas Bennett interview. And then we'll talk about the Leeds Knights progressing to the cup final. So enjoy the Jonas Bennett interview. And then we'll have the second half of the podcast. Hello. Hello and welcome back. I'm delighted to be joined by GB silver medalist and Leeds Knights defenseman Jonas Bennett. How you doing, mate?
Hello, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. You've just completed your first under 20s with GB. You got the silver. How did that feel with the boys?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's always good to go away with GB and like represent your country, but we had a pretty young team there, and so
Yeah.
we were expecting like we always wanted to win the gold, but I don't think we were expected to really beat Korea. But I thought we did pretty well, beat all the other teams, gave Korea a decent game. So
Yeah, I think it's interesting you say that because there's quite a lot of new guys coming in. Obviously, it was your first time with the under 20s. You had a few lads move on as well. So what was it like? Kind of, this is the new wave of GB lads coming together.
yeah, like we've got a good group together now. I think of like people born in 2008 and 9.
Yeah.
Like we have a real good shot of winning gold when we play together. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking. So you're 16 now. You've probably still got another two, three under 20s still to go. Obviously, the next few years.
Yeah, I think I got 3 more years after this one. So if I don't win a gold, then I'm still
That's not bad progress. How was it then? Obviously, going out to Romania. I know you've been playing with the under 18s, I believe, with GB, but your first time with the 20s, going over to Romania. I know all the lads when they come back say the best part is just spending time with each other.
yeah. That's always the best part. Like you have a lot of free time, obviously, because you skate in the morning and have games in the afternoons. But the rest of the time, you're just kind of with the boys. It was good. Romania was it was like a nice enough place. You know,
Yeah.
lots of stuff to do. So
Sam, for the people who don't really know too much about the tournament, do you want to talk about the crazy kind of schedule you had for the week? Because I believe you flew out on the Saturday, am I right?
I can't remember the days, but we flew out like the day before we had a game. It was all pretty chaotic. I don't like when we went with the under 18s last year. We went out like a week before and we practiced.
Okay.
Kind of had a few warm up games, but this time we just dropped right in it. Like we landed, went straight to the rink, trained, went to the hotel, went to bed, and then had a game in the morning.
Really?
It was pretty.
And within the 7 days, I think you had five games, didn't you?
Yeah. So we had a game every day and then 2 rest days.
Oh, nice one. And who were kind of, if you had to pick a couple of lads who, obviously you know quite a lot of the boys anyway, because it's great to see a lot of those National League players getting picked for the under 20s. But who were some of the lads who impressed you the most this tournament?
I thought a lot of the boys did really well. Like the younger ones did better than I thought, but
Yeah.
I think Jamie Smith, like he was my D partner. I'd seen
Really?
him, like I didn't know, but honestly, he was unreal. Like I like speaking to him, like playing with him. It was pretty good.
Well, I was checking the plus minuses actually, and I was chatting with my brother, and I thought you would be with Jamie because you and Jamie had the highest plus minus, and obviously you boys have been playing in the National League a lot this season. Jamie's come on a lot. He's a bit older than you, isn't he, as well?
Yeah, he's 2006, so 3 years older than me. But
Oh,
like,
wow. How was it playing with him? Because he is just does all the basics right, doesn't he?
yeah, exactly. Like we kind of just had the same mindset going into it. Like we weren't going to do anything too crazy, just play simple, and worked out well in the end. It was weird. Like some of the boys were saying, it's kind of like I'm playing with my dad because obviously I'm like 5'8". He's like 6 foot whatever. He's 3 years older than me. Like, it's fun. I enjoy playing.
No, I'm glad Jamie got a shot at the under 20s. He's definitely deserved it over the last few years. Bailey Yates as well. I believe he got player of the tournament for GB, was it?
Yeah, he got the supporters club thing. I thought he was really good. Like he's a really skilled player. Gets like he's always going to score goals. Just
Yeah, Sheffield have a decent little player on their hands for the
really,
rest of the season. We'll go back. Oh, I say go back to the start. You're still only 16. You're right at the start of your career, but growing up in hockey, then how did you get into hockey? I assume was it because of your dad?
yeah. My dad obviously he used to like commentate on hockey. He played rec.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that he met my mom like at a rec hockey thing, but I honestly couldn't tell you. But both my parents always liked hockey. They took me to games since I was before I could even remember. So I've just always
Really?
grown up, and
I see the Rangers thing behind you. Have you been to watch the Rangers?
I have, yeah, a couple times. Been to,
Nice. It's so good in it, Madison Square.
I
It's
know,
more the arena. Like the arena's just nuts.
I know it's so big. Like, if I could ever play that one day, that'd just be so cool.
Oh, that's the dream. That's the dream. But yeah, you obviously come through. What made you want to be a defenseman then? Because I know a lot of the young lads nowadays they want to be the forward, they want to be the star guys up front. But what made you want to play in defense?
Well, I started off playing as a forward actually because I didn't know anything about hockey. I was like, I want to score goals. So,
Yeah,
but when I got to I think under 11s, my
yeah.
team didn't have many D men. They had a lot of forwards. So
Mm.
the coach said to me, he was like, "We might need you to play D. I think you'd be a good D man." So I dropped back, and it went well, and I just kept going from there. Really.
Nice one. And then it got to kind of a few years ago. You joined the kind of was it the Leeds Knights system, playing with a couple others on loan, but obviously Leeds Knights coming through, they started to win all the trophies. Was that kind of did that kind of sway you to going down their system? I can imagine it was quite local as well.
Yeah, well, I live in Sheffield, so it's like a 40-minute drive, but it's
Okay.
probably the closest team other than Sheffield. But obviously, because Leeds is a fairly new rink, they didn't have a
Yeah.
junior team until I can't remember, maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
2022 or 2021, I think it was.
Yeah, so I played for Nottingham before that, and then my dad was like starting the club in Leeds, so I was like, don't really have a choice if he's starting it. I gotta go with him. So I joined Leeds, and it was really good. Like I didn't regret it. It was probably the best thing for me at the time. I got a lot better since I played there. So
Nice one. And there's probably no better coach to to play under than or come through the systems than Ryan Aldridge. Obviously last season you captained the under 16s. You scored a lot of points from defence. But when did you get the kind of call from Aldridge, or when did he have that chat with you to say, look, you're going to be part of my plans next season?
well, from last season when I turned 15, then
Mhm.
he told me like I can train with his team, and I thought that was just a
Nice.
really good experience, like training with them for a whole season, pretty much on in the evening times twice a week, and it gave me like extra ice time, which helped me improve a lot. And obviously playing with players like playing with Kieran Brown, obviously I'm going to get a lot better when I'm like 15 years old. So that was good. And then at the start of this season, he signed me on a two-way, and I don't think he expected me to like play as much as that. But yeah, I signed, and he said like I'll try to get you as much ice time as I can. We actually had a meeting at the start of the season where he said to me like it's harder for D men to break through than forward. So if you don't play a lot with us, then like it's not personal. It's not to do with how you
Yeah.
like playing. It's just difficult for me to find you. But then I've ended up playing however many minutes a night, quite a lot. So
Yeah, well, it's been a weird one for Leeds because suddenly they just got shot with, I think, two or three D men going out. Griffin, Baldwin went out, Staudacker as well. So Aldridge kind of, I guessing he gave you the call, right? You're playing tonight, and then kept playing and playing. I can imagine that's only benefit as much as it wasn't nice they were out injured, but it's benefited you at such a young age.
yeah, obviously we lost Baldy, Griffin, and Stods, and we only had like four D men, and I was one of the four. So we were just rolling through it. It was, I think when Stods got injured in MK, we had maybe 60 before that, and that was a big game. So I went there, and I was gonna like just slot in, maybe play like 5, 10 minutes in that game. But then Stods got injured in the first period, and
Oh,
we were just playing four D men the whole night. It was like me, Bailey Perry, Bo, and Scoops, and yeah, from there, just never really looked back. Just playing.
I'm pretty. Did you win that game as well in Milton
Yeah,
Keynes?
we did. That was a crazy game. It was 3-2.
Was that kind of your? I always ask some of the younger players, what was kind of your welcome to the NIHL moment? Was that kind of it? Having to slot in Milton Keynes, probably one of the most intimidating rinks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just love playing in like Milton Keynes because it's so loud in there. Like it's pretty sick, and obviously I was like, I was not intimidated, but I was like kind of nervous, even though I knew I wasn't going to play like all the time. And then obviously I saw Stords go down, and I was like, oh my god. And then
There we
Ryan was
go.
like,
You just have to. I assume you just have to go with it. Do you just because I found it so impressive that you're 16 years old. You've come into this Leeds team and you play pretty much every game this season. I can imagine you're quite mature for your age. Some people might disagree.
you know, I like to think that I am, but it was like in that game specifically, I was like kind of nervous when I realized I had to play a lot. But then after the first period, I was like, I don't really have a choice. Like I have to play well, otherwise I kind of let the team down. So I was just trying to do what I could to help them, and then won the game, and it all went well.
What's the kind of biggest step for you then? Obviously, in the National League, I can imagine there's a lot of big guys you're having to battle against. But what was the kind of big noticeable difference you saw from juniors?
I think it's definitely like the speed in every aspect. Like when guys are skating at you, then they're a lot quicker. You've got to have a much better like gap control as a D man when you're defending, and also when I'm like chasing back on pucks, like you have pressure a lot quicker, so you have to move the puck way quicker than
Yeah.
in juniors. Like if I don't move it straight away, then they're just on me, and then we get into a battle. And because I'm like smaller than most of them, then when it's a 50-50 puck battle, I don't want to get into as many of those as I can. So
Yeah.
you just got to move the puck quick, skate.
Yeah, no. What was it like then? So obviously Staudacher had to go home and we wish him the best of luck with his recovery, but they bring in Sam Dunn and you're playing next to Sam Dunn. How was that, mate?
That was great. I love Dunny. Like he's a great player. He's a great guy. He's like always smiling, but he's super helpful. Like always helps me out. If there's something I'm not sure about, he can always, tell me what he thinks I should do. But I was like really shocked when I found out I was going to play with him because I walked into the changing room on the first session, and
Yeah.
Ryan always like writes the lines on the board. But I thought I was just going to be playing with BP like I usually do.
Yeah,
And then Ollie Endicott came like round the corner to me, and he was like, "Oh, I heard the new import said he wants to play with you." I was like, "Yeah,
yeah. Really?
nice one, Ollie." I don't. That's not actually what happened, but he was just joking. And then I was like, "Yeah, all right." And then we had a meeting, and I was getting changed. And then I looked at the board, and I saw it actually said 13 and 11 next to each other. I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" And then went on the ice. He was my D partner, and yeah.
But the thing is, right, obviously Jamie this season, I can imagine you might have had a chat with Jamie during GB. Ben O'Connor come in and said, I want to play with Jamie Smith. And you can see the improvement just off this season alone of him working with Ben. Ben's always talking to her. I can imagine it's similar with Sam when you put a young lad like yourself with a more experienced guy and a Canadian as well. I can imagine it's helped you a lot this season with loads of the little things which fans might not even notice.
Yeah, like all the little details, like he just helps me out. Sometimes on the ice, like he's always communicating with me. So like some of the time, if like a situation where if no one's saying anything, I don't know what I would do, but he's just saying like over, and I can move the puck to him, and
Yeah.
it just helps like take some of the pressure off when I'm playing. It's definitely helpful.
Yeah. Obviously coming into Leeds then, a lot of expectation put on them and they've been so good the last, well, ever since they've joined really. Um, being in the team and your first season in the team, what is, if you had to pick one reason why you think that is, do you think it's mentality? Do you think it's the players all buying into Aldridge? What kind of have you seen since joining the team?
Yeah, I think it's probably like the culture of the team, which
Mm.
Ryan has created. So it's kind of down to like Ryan and the culture.
Yeah.
Everyone gets on really well. It's a super tight group. Like everyone likes each other.
Yeah.
Like even when people are like really mad on the bench, like most of the time we don't turn on each other. Like everyone just tries to support each other. When we're in a tough game, like we help each other out, try to get through it. And I think that's probably why. Like it's just a great place. Everyone holds each other accountable, but
Yeah.
always.
And it's been a big season for the Brits, especially with a lot of these injuries. Ollie Endicott, Innes Gallagher, Finn Braden, they've all taken big steps this season, haven't they? And I think especially Ollie. Like he's been relied on with big goals this season.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Ollie's been great this season. Like, obviously, he always has the part of his game where he's kind of like a bit of a rat, but
Yeah.
he's been good this season, like skilled and everything. So
I bet you were watching I know you watched the first leg of the stream. Were you watching the second leg as well in Leeds?
yeah,
How cool is it now? You know you're going to be playing in an NIHL Cup final as well with Leeds.
that was awesome. Like, we had probably half the team was all in this little video room watching.
Really?
We had like Basingstoke versus Romford on one screen,
Oh, nice.
and then Swindon versus Leeds on the other. It was a great game to watch as well. It was pretty
Yeah.
tight. Honestly, I'll say this, so Bailey Perry was unbelievable in that game.
Mate, I was saying this to my dad. I said it was it was in the first period where Logan Van der Meraker was like one on one, and Perry just gets his stick there, and then
Yeah,
it seemed like Perry was playing every shift on the ice.
I've never seen him play like that before. I'm pretty sure he should have had 2 assists in that game. I was like,
Yeah,
what's going on? Because some of the boys were like, I think like they obviously don't expect him to do much, but then he's just solid defensively usually. But
yeah.
seeing him when it was 2-0, he's like joining the rush on the red line, leading with the puck. I was like, how is it? What is going on here? How has this happened? But yeah, he was.
Nah, he's been good, and I think he's another example of development under Ryan Aldridge, as is all of the youngsters. And I wanted to ask about another one, who you went to GB with, Vengis, and he's
Yeah,
kind of had his breakthrough season in the National League this year as well. I think he got a couple of appearances last season, didn't he?
yeah.
But it's kind of his first full season with Leeds this season. What's it been like, kind of growing up with him?
It's great. Like, he's probably like my best friend on the team.
Oh, nice.
Like, I speak to him a lot. Like, we warm up together. We have a few pre-game like routines together. But I've been good friends with him since the Leeds juniors started, so like 2021. So for probably like 5 or 6 years now, we've just been really good friends. So it's been like helpful to have him here, and because he's a year older than me, he
Yeah.
was last season. So like some of the stuff I'm not sure about, then he can just like help me out. I ask him questions, he knows the answers usually. So it's been really good.
He's quite big for his age as well, and I think he's kind of you can definitely see him learning the National League a lot more this season and how to use his body and chipping in with more points. I think he was even on a line with the two imports, wasn't he, as well?
Yeah, he was with Pates and Mickey. That was pretty good. I don't
No,
know
it's
what the line will
good
be.
opportunity for you young lads.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. Like playing under Rai is so good. Like he's probably, I would say, the best coach in the league for like developing young players.
Yeah.
Like probably half the team is just people who he's developed through, like Finn, Innes, obviously, Ollie, then me. Even like Bally, who's like 26 now. Like Rai coached him when he was a kid as well.
Yeah, no, HJ Bo Neely as well.
Yeah, Bo. There's like so
Bailey. Just everyone.
yeah, he just coached everyone since they were kids. It feels like, other than the imports. So yeah.
I want to ask about one import because he is known as, we call him Big Game Bissonnette, and
Yeah.
he stepped up massively in that semi-final game as well. Even the first leg, he got that goal to get it within a goal. And how's it been playing with him? How's it been trying to defend against him? Because he just threads an eye on the needle, didn't he?
Yeah, he's just like so smart on the ice. It seems like he's always so calm. Like he never comes under pressure. He just feels like he always makes the right play when I'm watching him. I don't know how he does it, but even off the ice, like he's just always calm. Just a great guy. Like it's nice to be around him. Communicates a lot. And then watching the games, like the goal he scored against Swindon as well, that was just disgusting. Like
Just out of nothing, wasn't it?
came from, yeah, like I didn't seem like much was going on, and then he just gets the puck, makes a nice move, puts it below blocker. I was like, jeez.
I wanted to chat about another player because we haven't really spoke about him too much since he's joined, because I think he only joined a couple of weeks ago. Owen Sobchak, and
Yeah.
what a signing that is, and what a boost that is for you guys. He was a top point scorer last season. Have you managed to play against him in training yet, or were you with GB?
No, like it was the day that we went away with GB where we announced signing, and like I didn't know anything about it in advance
Yeah,
because I think with Dunny getting injured, it was like a deal that
yeah,
happened pretty quickly, and we just like I was lying in my bed when we were at the airport, I
It was
think.
so late, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And then Edgar's was like just got out of the shower and I could hear that he was really excited in the room. I was like, what's going on? And then he shows me we've just signed Sobchak. I was like, what are you talking about? No, yeah. And he shows me on his phone and I was like, I didn't go to sleep for like an hour. I was so excited, but
And mate, same. Charlie called the group chat with me and Dan in it, and he was like, Leeds have just announced Owen Sobchak. It's so random at 11 o'clock. No teasers or anything, just straight up they signed him.
I know, just right out the blue. Like he didn't even get added to the group chat before that.
Really?
Obviously, we were watching his first game and he got like three
Oh,
or 4 points in it. Jeez, you got a
yeah.
player hands there, but I've still not got to meet him yet. So
Oh, nice.
that,
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to settle in quite nicely. We'll move on finally to the rest of the season. Obviously, still 60. I think you turned 17 right at the end of the season, I believe.
yeah, end of April.
Leeds in that cup final. You still got playoffs, and I know Swindon are a bit ahead at the moment, but there's so many games left. I can imagine all the boys just want to keep trying to get that silverware this season.
Yeah, we do. Like it's a big thing for us because obviously we're been successful over the past however many years. Like we got to the final of the cup. It's probably obviously we want to do the best we can, try and win that. And then in the league, like we obviously really want to win the league. Was it 4 in a row? It would be if we won it this year. So
Yeah,
but you just got to take that one game at a time. Try win every game that you can, and then if we put a good string of performances together, then the silverware is what's going to come. So that's kind of what's important to us.
Are you looking forward to, I bet you're looking forward to playing your kind of first playoffs as well. It's always the best time, but it's also the most physical. So it'll be a really good test for yourself, I can imagine.
Yeah, I'll be fine. Guys have got to watch out for me. I think I'll be.
Yeah, I like that. What's it been like? I will ask this. What's it been like as what I'd say an undersized, because you still are only 16 years old.
Yeah.
You've got the cage on still. What's it like having to battle against Bebris, for example, or Cam Huffs, that these big guys from other teams, Spadafor, if you faced him, those kind of big mutant guys?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. Like you can't. For me, I kind of have to like avoid getting into like a physical battle with
Yeah.
them because if we get into like a board battle, then they can just kind of like bump off me and get some separation. So I have to try and be pretty smart about it. But
Yeah.
I remember like Bebris when I played in Swindon, the game that we won. He was like chipping pucks in the corner and chasing them, and I was like right behind him on his tail. But he was like just before he'd get the puck, he'd like reverse into me. And the first time, like I kind of went flying back. I was like, "Geez!" And then he tried doing it like every time we got into a battle. I was like, "There's nothing I can do. Like when I get behind him, I have to stop, wait for him to do the move, and then try
Yeah.
battling." Like it's tough, but it has its advantages as well. Like I can kind of get underneath guys and be like a bit more
No,
agile.
that's true, actually. And I can imagine a lot of stick work as well, getting used to using your stick, poking the puck
Yeah,
away, finding those gaps. You know much more than I do, but I can imagine that's the kind of stuff which you've really developed.
yeah, that's right. Like just having a good stick all the time, like taking away lanes and picking people's pockets. Like it's something I got to be good at to make up for not being as big.
Yeah.
To have some sort of advantage over these guys for sure.
It will come though, mate. Yes, you've still got plenty of growth in you.
I
I
hope.
do have to ask about one guy. You're playing in front of him, Sam Gospel. Again, just every season we say, can Sam Gospel keep up that standard? And he's been ridiculous again this season. What's it like playing in front of him? Has he, since you've started coming into the team, has he given you some pointers? Is he talking to you after the game? Is he pulling you and telling you what you could do and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's just so good having him back there. Like if you make a mistake, there's a good chance he's gonna bail you out all the time. He's whenever there's stuff that like he thinks I could do better, then he tells me, and that's really helpful as well because it helps me improve my game and make it easier for him. But he's just so good. It's unbelievable. Like I almost like I just feel bad for him when I make mistakes sometimes because I'm like he helps me out so much. Like I just want to try and make it as easy for him as I can. But yeah,
He's chilled though, and I think that's a big part of his success as a goalie is in those pressure moments he's able to be loose and do his stuff. Have you noticed as well? He comes so far out of his goal
yeah,
to close the angle, but it works. And honestly, sometimes he's like 3 or 4 steps outside of his own crease.
Yeah, there was one against Milton Keynes, I think, where he came out to like challenge the shooter and they shot it, and I was like behind him, and I ended up playing goalie because the rebound popped out off his pad. He was at like the hash marks, and I was just in the net, and they whoever was lucky, they just shot it along the ice, and it hit my stick and went out. But I was like,
Oh, nice.
but he told me, he was like, yeah, that was perfect. If I ever push out, you can just fill in behind me. I was like,
Oh, there we go. Happy days.
yeah.
Um, finally, a message to, we always end with this one, and what is your message to the Leeds Knights fans who's supported you this season in your first National League season?
Yeah, I guess I want to say thank you. They've been great so far, supporting me, supporting the team in every way, and there's a lot more to come, so keep supporting us.
Nice one. Have you got a banner yet, or is that still in the works?
No, I'll still be in the works. I don't know when I'll get one.
Or Leeds Knights fans, if you're listening, try and find a banner to get up for Jonas. I appreciate you hopping on, mate. Good luck for the rest of the season. And now that Swindon aren't in it anymore, good luck for the final as well.
Thank you.
Nice one. Thanks, mate. And welcome back. Cup semi-final time, Charlie. We got to talk about it. The Wildcats shut out 3-0 in the second leg. And it was disappointing, wasn't it? We were a bit disappointed on the Friday, as were probably all the players from the Cats. But you got to first give credit to Leeds. They were fantastic. But it's one to forget, isn't it, for the Cats in that semi-final? We feel like we have turned a page this season, especially in the league and the position we're in. And I really thought we were going to win that one, but the Leeds Knights just do what they do.
Yeah, disappointing from Swindon, but first of all, yeah, Leeds played really well. Um, Leeds obviously quite a lot further behind in the league than they probably are used to and have been in the last 3 years. And I think this is a really big opportunity for them to get silverware this season because the league is looking tough for them. I think that's fair to say. I don't think I'm being unfair there. And so it's a big opportunity to get silverware for them. And they managed to make something out of a game which looked like it was gone. And then they came out like they really, really, really wanted it. They came out chasing every puck. Kieran Brown looked really on it, even though he didn't contribute in points. I thought he looked really on it. And yeah, just every player from top to bottom in the team looked like they were willing to give 110% and more for the game. And I think that was the type of Leeds you got. You got a gritty Leeds, which found a way to just keep chances to a minimum and get goals. Their goals weren't always the prettiest, but they found a way to get them.
Yeah.
And credit to Leeds. I thought Bissonnette had a phenomenal game.
What a joke.
He's just so good in big games. He's, I think in the last 4 years, he's the best cup player in the league.
Yeah.
Like, he's so good in the
From
playoffs.
from the Sheffield days as well.
Oh, he was so clutch for Sheffield, and then he was clutch for Leeds in the league last year. But he's so good in them one-off games where you just need to find a way to win. And then Swindon, flat,
Yeah.
like disappointing. Just not what we've seen this year. I think that's what disappoints me the most is we've seen the levels Swindon can get to. There's a reason we're doing so well in the league. We've gone to Leeds and we scored like 3 or 4 or 5 goals up
We
there.
won 5-3 last time.
Yeah, we've gone up to Leeds and won 5-3. And we put 4 shots on in the first period. Like I know we had a 1 goal lead, but it just felt like we managed the game badly. We started off too slow. We didn't play the way we normally do, and I think
We
when
only
you've
had
only got
4 shots in the first period, didn't we?
yeah 4 shots, and then the second we had about 10, and then the third we really started to put on a bit of pressure because we kind of had to. But yeah, I think I just don't think Swindon played the way they can and what they're good at, and that's what disappoints me about that game is I like losing when I think we played well, and I didn't think we played well.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't nice to lose because I didn't feel like we did what we can.
Yeah. I
But
think
Leeds were really good.
shout out Bailey Perry. We shout him out in
Oh,
the
Bailey Perry was phenomenal in that game. Oh
we
my
shouted
God.
him out in the podcast with Bennett. He was chirping him a bit, but in a funny way. And he was unbelievable. Sticks in the lane. He seemed like he was on all the time and all the shifts. And yeah, I agree with you. I think it's just disappointing. We've in the first leg against Leeds, we outshot them 38-25. Now I know you can't do that every game, and especially in an away rink, but I think we may have sat on that 1 goal lead a bit too much, and a 1 goal lead isn't really too much. If we were 2 or 3 ahead, then yeah, I'd understand. But as soon as Leeds tied it up, it's like you've wasted half an hour to try and get a couple goals and go for it. And I know you're going to open up a bit more, but we've got the talent to be able to do that. But we did back it up in across the weekend and turned it into, okay, right, we've got to be really serious about the league. But well done to Leeds. They did deserve it, and they played a really good game. I wouldn't say it was one of Sam Gospel's best shutouts. He didn't have a crazy amount to do, I don't think, in terms of big
his best
chances.
patch of the
But
game was them 10 minutes of the start of the third.
yeah, we
Started to
did.
put on pressure.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, I think Leeds played really well, and they showed why they're serious
without
winners.
Sam Dunn as well. Without Sam Dunn, that's the big
Yeah,
one as
yeah,
well.
that was the big one. They did it without an import D. He should be back for the next tie, depending on how long it is. I'm sure Leeds will be hoping to delay the scheduling a little bit if
Yeah,
it was going to be planned sooner. But yeah, it was a frustrating game, but we have a big thing to focus on as well. And you can't win everything. There's a reason Leeds haven't won the treble in the last 3 years, and it's because it's so difficult and the leagues are so good. And it shows you in one-off games, hockey's a different story a lot of the time.
that's one thing which I want to see Swindon improve on, though, is those one-off games, because I think across a league season we've definitely shown um, how we can be consistent and bouncing back after a loss. But in the one-off games, I think just need to be a little bit better, and hopefully we can do that come Coventry in the playoffs, which is still a long way to go. Right, let's get into the weekend then. And yeah, some pretty crazy games. We're going to go through these quite quickly because we don't want this episode to drag and go on too long. But there were some games on the Friday night, and we'll start with those ones. And the Romford Raiders shut out Basingstoke, Charlie, 3-0. The first games for each of them in a 3-game weekend. So it was a big one. Both of them around that playoff spot, and the Raiders shut them out, and CC has a great game in there. And I think that's really where Cole Ceci comes into play in those games, and he obviously outdone Max Wright in that one and won them the game.
Yeah, Romford phenomenal. Players out, not a full squad. CC stood on his head by the sounds of it.
Yeah,
Managed to get the win. Basingstoke very inconsistent with getting goals in games. Some
yeah,
games it comes and some games it doesn't. And that was one of the games where, yeah, you really want to start winning your home games when you're in the playoff battle. That was kind of a 4-pointer,
yeah,
with how close they are. But yeah, from Romford perspective, getting a shutout is huge for them, who had just shipped 10 goals the previous week to
yeah.
Telford. So that was massive for them.
The other game on the Friday was the Solway Sharks triple home header, starting against the Sheffield Steel Dogs, and it was a great start for them. They went 2-0 up, but the Steel Dogs, without quite a few players, no Watson, obviously Nordstrom's out injured as well. Watson was with the Steelers. Obviously they scratched the import, and they went with Curtis Warburton, so it meant they could have 4 on ice imports, if you want to call it that. And they came back from 2-0 down to win 5-2, and fair play to Sheffield, because Solway has shown that it's a tough place to go this season. Swindon have lost there. Leeds have been shut out there. And Sheffield go and get those 2 points. So that was a really big one on the Friday night to kind of put the pressure on Swindon for the weekend to try and bounce back after that cup semi-final exit. Charlie, shock of the weekend for me, though, this one. Shock of the weekend. Leeds, after beating the Swindon Wildcats in the cup, they have another home game against the Phantoms. The Phantoms without Yanni Lackinen, who didn't play, no Brad Bowerin, no Tom Norton, no Corey McEwen, and no Morgan Clark-Pizzo. Leeds go 2-0 up. And Cam Huff and Ferrara, we'll start with them. just they are ridiculous, aren't they? Ferrara has been the best. We've said it in the last episode. He's been the best British player in the league, full stop. And he's an argument for the best player of the league as well this season, top point scorer. But Huff as well. I mean, the goals is just stupid, isn't it? At the rate
I
he's scoring.
checked today on Elite Prospects. Huff's on pace for 62 goals.
Oh,
It's silly numbers. Like Slava Kulikov scouting Huff, fair play. Like it's phenomenal import. And then yeah, I think I'd say it. The best player in the league this year. If the season ended today, he'd get player of the season, and that's Luke Ferrara. 32 years old, captain of Peterborough. They'd lost their coach who they'd had for the last 10 seasons. Bit of uncertainty. Your captain's knocked on 65 points in 33 games. Leading by example, just Mr. Consistent. I bet I can probably count maybe 2, 3 games where he's got 0 points. He's got one game where he's had 0 points this year. And that was in the 8th
he
of
scored a
November.
point every other game.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
believe so. Oh no, two.
two.
Apologies. Two. Oh no, he's only got 2 games where he hasn't got a point. That is what this guy's been doing this year, and he's just so consistent. And to have that as a Brit, it's like having an import, if not two imports. He's that good. And yeah, I watched Ryan Aldridge's interview for this one. As you can imagine, it wasn't the happiest interview. But apparently a door broke for Peterborough. So the door broke on Peterborough's bench. And so they stopped the game and then they did a 30-minute period because the door was broken. So the last period was 30 minutes.
Oh.
I was reading, and Ryan Aldridge basically said Leeds just came out flat
Oh,
in this period, and Peterborough just came out like they wanted it. And so Leeds went from dominating for the first 30 minutes to just getting dominated, and
yeah.
then Peterborough just took the momentum. But yeah, Peterborough just they're just doing it this year. Like, don't get me wrong, they're not winning every game. They went on to lose the next night, but they're just getting points and they're just consistent with getting them. And credit to them, they had a lot of change in the summer with their coach, but the squad just went, now we're going to keep digging, we're going to keep going. And yeah, and the imports are all firing. And that's the key. And
Yeah. I do want to shout out one guy, Barnabas Sarri. What a goal that was, by the way.
I,
Sniping it past Gospel. Go watch the highlights if you haven't already. A great goal from Sarri to tie it up as well. And yeah, what a goal that was for him. He's had to step up on the top lines as well with no Lakanen, and he scored a great little goal. So shout out to him and a big win for
his
Peterborough.
first goal of the season, by the way.
Oh well, what a first goal that is. Right, on to the Wildcats, who took that semi-final loss and responded in the best possible way. You get your new import, the hype of Villegas making his debut. Unfortunately, Charlie, it was Malas who had to sit. But Villegas comes in and we score within the first shift. So 30 seconds in, we score. And after getting shut out the night before, fair play. That's the perfect start you want. And then we got another one. And then we got another one. And before you know it, it's 4-0 at the end of the first period. Villegas has got a goal and an assist. Everything's just clicking. That is a statement to show to the fans and to the league that okay, we didn't play very well on Friday. This is how we can play.
Yeah, after the most disappointing game of the season, we
Yeah.
topped it off with yeah, we seem to like playing Telford at home. And yeah, we just made it so they didn't have a chance. And we just played them at the park, and that's what Swindon need to do in games. And we haven't had loads of them games. We've been such a defensively solid team, but sometimes not quite just killers in the attack, and we were that game. I think my highlight of the game was Ryan Wowes' goal, where he just scored and then he just left his stick up
No
for
one
about
knew he
5 minutes.
scored. No one knew.
He was like, "I'm the sheriff of this town. I'm back for another year," and he just kept it there. He didn't move it. He just was like this the whole time. Absolutely love it. But yeah, just a great debut. Like 5 points in your debut. It's not a bad debut. To set your Swindon accounts off. Logan, who there's a bit of pressure on all the imports at the moment, I guess, because there's the threat of getting scratched. But all of the imports just turned up in both games this weekend for the league, and they needed to do that. So yeah, big.
Really fun line actually of Logan van der Meereke, Nell in the middle. You got the old boy in the middle, and then you've got Villegas and Logan just running rings around, and then you got Nell just in the slot doing the business. And he got a goal as well. But yeah, a 9-1 victory, a really tough day at the office for Telford. They struggle in Swindon. They really do struggle in Swindon, and Swindon seem to be able to hit them early, and it really breaks them for the rest of the game. So a night to forget for Telford, but a very important bounce back for Swindon. And then on to the Bristol Pitbulls. And they are on a playoff charge because they beat the Raiders 4-2, and I think they should be, especially with the Raiders playing the night before. Raiders short bench, they don't have Leishram. But they put in a good shift. And they beat the Romford Raiders 2 goals within 30 seconds, and they get the empty netter, and that's a big win for them, Charlie. And we'll talk a bit more about them on the Sunday, but they are playing much better at home, aren't they? Teams are going there and they've got a game on their hands.
Yeah, it's been big for them. I think since that Swindon home shutout win, I think things have turned around quite a bit for Bristol, and there was a bit of pressure because Basingstoke were winning, Romford were doing all right, and there's some pressure for them to pick it up, and they have. And having Harewood every week has been a big part in this. We said that at the start of this season. Bringing back Robertson has been a big part of this, adding extra depth into the forward zone. Whitesay came back this weekend, so congrats to Whitesay for coming back. That was a big rehab by the looks of it. And it's cool to have him back. It's good to have the youngsters back on the teams. And yeah, everyone's stepping up in Bristol. And I think the guy I want to credit for the weekend, I guess, is Padalek. He came into a difficult job. A team which had got quite used to losing. And there was kind of a bit of a laughing stock. I predicted them bottom. And it became a kind of a bit of a meme. And you have to change the culture in the club. And Padalek has definitely done that. He's built a winning mentality. He's built a group of guys who want to play there. And that's important. And so the fact that they've built this mentality in Bristol just makes the National League more competitive. And they're proving people like me wrong, but more importantly, they're bringing in sellout crowds every week and they're turning up in front of them, which means you're going to continue to sell out the rink. So, yeah, big win. And then for Romford, after a great win in Basingstoke, one of the games where you probably would have circled Basingstoke and Bristol and gone, if we can get 4 points, that'd be a dream weekend. And they managed to get 2, but they didn't quite get the 4. And Bristol needed that because it meant that, wow, we'll be able to speak about that after the Sunday.
Yeah. On to a crazy doubleheader. And we'll do this as a pair. It is the MK Lightning and the Hull Seahawks, and it's always amazing games between these two teams. There's always guaranteed goals, guaranteed controversy, and despite outshooting MK, let me just check the stats. 43-23, Charlie. It is the Lightning who win 6-4. And it was the top line doing the business. Sean Norris, Dom Gabay and Jordan Cowney. And yeah, Hull come away from that game needing to be a bit more clinical and trying to keep the puck out the net. I think is a big one, and we'll talk about it in a second. But a big win for MK on the Saturday, even if they didn't really play their hardest. However, on the Sunday, 7-0 after 38 minutes to the Hull Seahawks. All of that not being clinical enough went out the window, and they started scoring at a rapid rate. The big boys stepped up, and Charlie, what is going on with this MK Lightning away form? Because they cannot get a 4-point weekend, and they might get one this weekend now that it's coming, but I think it's 3 games out of 14 now they've won away from home, and they just cannot close out a 4-point weekend, can they? And um, with a team with 2 import defensemen, should not be conceding 7 goals, should they?
Yeah, I think this weekend, and I spoke about this last time I was on the pod. I think this weekend shows why MK and Hull are sixth and seventh.
Yeah.
Like it kind of shows their strengths and their flaws. Like MK, although they, according to Matty Davies, they got dominated, but I don't know. I didn't watch the game, so I can't say. Some fans agree with that, some fans didn't. Um, but although MK got the big home win and they've been so good at home, they concede goals for fun away at the moment, and it's just not what they're wanting. And then Hull, they seem to be putting in better performances of recent, but they can't find that consistency of winning multiple games on the bounce. And like, I think the thing which would disappoint me if I was a Lightning fan is the fact that you're getting Jordan Headley's a good season out of Jordan Headley. His save percentage has actually dropped, but I genuinely don't think that's on
Before
him.
this weekend, I bet you it was up in the 90s, maybe even 9-1.
Like he's had some rougher save percentages of recent, but that's because they conceded 8 goals to Phantoms,
He's
seven
playing
goals
at a
to
good
Hull.
standard, though, Headley, I think.
I've noticed a big difference in Headley personally. I think his stats actually undermine how good he's been. His stats are a 90.3, and I think he's been better than that. Um, and yeah, I just think they need to step up and be a bit more of a structure away. We've seen with I don't know who has got the best away form. It's either Sheffield or Swindon.
Sheffield by quite comfortable, I think.
And I think part of that's because of Slava. He knows how to set his team up away, but you have to be disciplined away. You can't give away penalties away from home, and you have to be willing to take on pressure and not concede.
Yeah.
I think they're two things that MK struggle with a lot of the time. And then Hull, I think it's quite a positive weekend for them. I'd be more positive if I was Hull than I was MK, apart from the fact you conceded 5 goals after being 7-0 up. Take that out, and it's a great.
MK made a game of it somehow.
I don't know how you are 7-0 up and there's 7 minutes left of this game and it's a 2 goal game. I don't know how that happens, but yeah, Hull put in a good performance MK away. Not an easy rink. Swindon have dropped points there twice, and then they've gone and backed it up with a good win at home. I believe Dan Crowe played his first game as well
Yeah.
for them, which is nice to see. He's back in the national and he played pretty decent, 47 shots on him. Um, but yeah, it's a mixture of emotions. And like I said, I think altogether after that massive ramble, it kind of shows why both teams are sixth and seventh. But I was also thinking, if they finish sixth and seventh, that playoff group, at the moment, there's a playoff group of Leeds, Sheffield, Milton Keynes, and Hull.
Oh man, I'd do anything to see that. That would be.
How cinema that is. You've got Slava Kulikovs and the Steel Dogs. You've got Leeds, just the champs. They just get it done. You've got MK and whatever's happened this year. And then Hull and Matty Davies. Oh my days. That would be National League cinema. Instead of getting a documentary on the NHL, I just get a documentary
On
of
that
each
playoff
one of
group.
them 4 dressing rooms and I just watch it blow up. Oh my days, it'd be golden.
The,
Oh,
the oh the rivalries as well. Like Chamberlain. Right, I know people dog on Chamberlain, right?
I love
He's a
Chamberlain.
rat and he'll offer anyone out. Thing with Chamberlain, he backs it up. 1 minute into the game, he fights Forsberg.
I'll happily say this. I'll happily say this. He actually hasn't been on the best form recently. I'm a Bobby Chamberlain fan. I love him. I think he's phenomenal. Because I think he owns it. He's a rat. Like you said, he's a rat, but he'll drop him. He'll run your goalie.
And
He's
he'll
brilliant.
do
But
what he'll
yeah,
pay the price for it.
I am really hoping. And then a week before playoffs, he'll throw his helmet at the Bristol bench. But yeah, I am all for. I am really hoping that the league stays this way because oh
Well,
my
obviously for
days, that
Swindon's
playoff group.
benefit.
From Swindon's benefit to absolute Netflix documentary worthy playoff group. That doesn't mean our playoff group is bad. Like it'll still
No,
be a good playoff group, but
no, it's just teams which I
there's
think we
something
just
quiet
can't.
about that. Oh my days. Yeah, the National
Right.
League.
crazy weekend for both teams. For those two. Then the other doubleheader, which we'll go through. And it's probably a good job Dan isn't on here. Because I think he'll be quite disappointed. The Bison are going for a bit of a tough patch, and we said they would, and this is probably it. They won 6 on the bounce, and then they won 3 games in a row a few weeks later, or 4 games in a row. But they're going through a little tough patch, aren't they, Charlie, at the moment? And they go 4-1 up. They get those goals which you were talking about. Sometimes they just got the goals. They scored a nice few goals as well. They go 4-1 up, but the Sharks just fought their way back into it and tied it up with less than a minute to go. Goes overtime, and Stewart, who tied it up, then scores the overtime winner. Just 30 seconds into the overtime, and that is huge for Solway, isn't it? Because if they'd have lost that, they're in a tough spot, and they losing the Friday night at home. If they'd have lost that one, playoffs looks a mile off, doesn't it?
Yeah, Solway knew they were going to have games at home.
Yeah.
When they were, I think
Catching
everyone
up
was
on
out for the first 6 weeks. They knew they'd catch up and they had to capitalize. Hasn't been a good start to the season. Quite a bit of turmoil in their squad as well. And bang, that was the weekend they needed. And credit to Solway, they managed to get it done. They're going to be body short next week because of it. I'm sure we'll go into that. Most likely short anyway, I should say. I don't know what's happening with Dops.
Dops looks a bit stacked, doesn't it?
Looks like Dops are having a Netflix field day. But yeah, they put on a massive weekend. I bet they're probably a bit frustrated they couldn't take on Sheffield, and that would have been the dream
Yeah.
weekend. Basingstoke. I have a soft spot for Basingstoke, probably partly because of Dan. Just frustrating. I know they were going to have a point in this season where they struggled, but it can't be on the weekend where you're playing a bunch of 4-pointers.
Yeah.
It's the weekend where they couldn't afford to lose every game.
It's always the way though, isn't it?
Yeah,
You beat a lot of the top teams, but it's the ones around you which are the toughest ones.
and Basingstoke I remember the year they made playoffs with Tate, their final season, and they won these games. These were the games where Gelabwele sellied 6 times. They were them games. And they're by far not out of it, so I don't want to be too doom and gloom, but they played bottom of the league and got 1 point in a double header, and then they lost to Romford at home by not scoring. And then they've got 5 guys going to Dops after this weekend.
Yeah.
It's not pretty. It's not what you want. But yeah, I think from a Basingstoke perspective, the game you'll be most disappointed about will be the one they lost in overtime. I
Yeah.
think when you're 4-1 up, you've got to close it out. But they've got to pick themselves back up. There's going to be less of them by the looks of it going into the next weekend. But it's a frustrating weekend. But you've got to move forward.
Yeah, and then the Sharks bounce, put in a even better performance on the Sunday. Carter Hamill with a hat trick. It's great to see him doing well, and you can see the progression of him. He's great on the power play, by the way. 3 power play goals this weekend
Oh,
alone.
he's great. He's
Yeah,
great. Scoring for Belfast. I think he's got 2 goals in his last 5 games.
yeah,
Yeah, Carter's great. He's a great Brit. Really
yeah.
good Brit player.
And they win that one 5-2, and a 4-point weekend. Could have been 6, but they bounced back really well. A bit like Swindon. They lost on the Friday. They'll be quite disappointed, but they bounced back and got 2 big wins. We've talked about the Seahawks and MK, and then the Pitbulls. We're going back to them. They get. Is it their first? I think it's their first
The
4-point
first
weekend
4-point weekend, yeah.
of the season against the Peterborough Phantoms in a shootout. And of course it's Bailey Airwood. Of course it is. Have you seen the shootout goal as well? Oh,
Commentator knew it. The commentator, Peterborough Phantoms commentator, who went backhand forehand, backhand goal.
yeah, it's just so good.
Good at penalty shots.
Changing them, oh, he's so good at it. But he gets
Not
the
many
winning
goalies
penalty
you
goal.
can get a penalty shot save against Harewood.
I think he's only missed 1 this season, and that just shows you like how he's like the Zegras of the National League, but probably even better.
Imagine Vigras taking penalty shots in the National League.
Oh my days.
That'd be nuts.
I'll tell you who was probably rivals Harewood is probably Ben O'Connor, but Bristol have gone to shoot
I've
out a
only
bit
seen
more than
one Ben
Swindon this
O'Connor penalty
season.
shot.
Against Solway, he scored 2 of them, didn't he?
Yeah, Oh yeah, that'd be a good rivalry. We need a penalty. No, actually, I don't want a
No,
penalty
I
shot
don't. We don't want to shoot out against Bristol.
because I don't want it to
Um,
go to that. But if it did go to that, I'd
yeah.
love to see when we had the Cornell Bricknell one, where they just go back and forth, but it's just Ben O'Connor and Hale, and whoever
Yeah.
misses first loses.
Um, quick shout out to Nappy, by the way. He had to save 2 penalty shots in the game,
Did
and then he
he?
saved all 3 penalty shots in the shootout. So Napier actually saved 5 penalty shots in the game. So yeah, he
What did
actually
he?
struggled a bit with shootouts last year, didn't he?
I
But
remember him struggling with shootouts, so fair play to the bloke.
so he
He's
saves a
also
couple.
gone up in the save percentage a bit.
Yeah.
He's starting to climb.
Yeah, no, I think when your goalie's playing well, you start to play well, and I think that you're seeing that with Napier. But yeah, 4 point weekend for the Pitbulls, and if you look at the league standings, I know the Bison have a couple games in hand on them, but they are in a playoff spot, I think, for the first time this season. So really, really big weekend for them. And it just shows that if you can get a couple wins in a row, which is so hard in the National League, it can put you in a playoff spot. And they're in eighth at the moment. So,
Said
yeah,
this
they've
to
got a
Dan,
tough weekend ahead, though, against Leeds. But I think they're going to go in with it thinking, you know what? We can give this a right go.
especially the home game. I said this to Dan. When was the last time Bristol were in a playoff spot, which wasn't the first 5 weeks of the season?
Oh,
Like I don't know. I genuinely don't know, and I'm not saying this to be rude or to point out the fact that they've struggled in the last 2 years because they're much better. But like, I don't know if they've been in a playoff spot past the first 5 weeks of the season for the last like 3 years. Like
yeah.
this is big. Like you've got 20 games to go in a season and a bit less than 20 games, and you're sat in a playoff spot and you're playing the best hockey. You've just come off your first 4 point weekend. They talk about it in the NHL podcast I'm on, but it's all about streaks.
Yeah.
When you're trying to get playoffs, it's all about being streaky. If you can grab 3, 4, 5 wins out of 8, that's going to just push you above. And you got Romford who are struggling with injuries. Basingstoke who look like Dops are going to be coming after him. Solway, they are slowly potentially putting themselves in the mix. They've still got work to do. Um, yeah, Bristol, you got my respect. You're doing well at the moment.
Yeah, and I think it helps that they've had this team now, balanced team, for the last few weekends. So they've
Yeah.
actually managed to get some momentum with the lines. Padalec's kept the lines quite similar as well, and it's clicking. So fair play to the Pitbulls. They were 3-0 up at one point, and then Peterborough got it back to 3-3, and you're thinking, oh no, Bristol, but they did get it done, and that's the
Zane
main
McKenzie
thing.
played and scored. That's a name.
What's that?
Zane McKenzie played and scored.
Oh, for Peterborough, yeah. He must that's the first time in a while. The Telford Tigers, I said to Dad, I spoke to a few people this weekend. I said they are going to bounce back. I put if I was a betting man on the NIHL, I said I put my money on Telford. I really thought they bounced back and beat the Steel Dogs, and they did. You know Tom Watkins and what he expects from this team, how good Telford are at home. And I think, Charlie, us beating them 9-1 was probably a good thing for us, not only because we won that game, but also they played Sheffield the next day, who are one of our title rivals, and they they needed to bounce back, and they did, and they beat them 6-3. And yeah, Tate Shudra, I want to shout him out first because he is doing really, really well. He's getting multi-point games. He gets another 2 goals. In fact, he has got 7 goals in his last 4 games. He has managed to get on the score sheet, and I bet you he loved getting those 2 goals against Sheffield as well.
Yeah, a cracking move for Tate. We've had him on the podcast when the Sheffield thing came together. I remember the
Yeah,
interview. And I'm really happy for him because I think he's always had the potential. And he just hasn't quite had the right opportunities. And I think for him that goal was a bit of, haha,
yeah,
yeah. I bet it's always in the NHL it's the same, but you always have that little bit of an extra skating power, that bit harder shot
yeah,
when you're playing your former team. Um, and yeah, I think I have to mention, and I didn't know whether you did because you did lag, so I may be
yeah,
repeating. But they didn't have Watson or Nordstrom.
yeah. I said
Which
that I think in the first one. So on
yeah,
the Saturday they didn't have him.
yeah, they're missing Watson and Nordstrom again for this game. And then they're also missing Garcia as they chose to play the three import forwards and Brady Parker.
Yeah.
So definitely more of a beaten up team with a very different third line. Cal, Deneco, and Nags as your third line. They
Yeah,
definitely,
Naxu played defense, didn't he, last
yeah,
couple of seasons?
definitely beaten up. But just if you're beaten up and you come across this Telford team in Telford, it's going to be a long night for you because yeah, even without Brindley Caps, you've got three lines which are just going to come at you, which are going to play hard hockey, and they're going to hit you. They're going to make you work hard, and yeah, I'm really happy for Telford. And I think, again, I guess we don't say much we used to about him. Tom Watkins is just a cracking development coach.
Yeah.
He's really done well with Brindley Caps this year. I think he's done amazing with Rhodes Mitchell King. He's done really well with Tate Shudra, and he's really starting to pick up form. You've seen him bring up Finley Howes in the past, Harry Ferguson having his best years, Louis Null. Yeah, this Telford team's really good. It's really good. And they had a rough night against us, but then they made sure that that didn't happen again.
Yeah. That wraps up this weekend, and yeah, so Swindon Wildcats are top at the moment, and they extend it by another 2 points. So 3 points ahead and 3 games in hand. 12 points in front of the Leeds Knights. A really good position for the Wildcats. Still plenty of time to go, and a really big game on Saturday, which is against the Sheffield Steel Dogs. The Steel Dogs will be thinking about their cup semi-final first leg first, because that's another good chance at silverware. But a big game on Saturday. All of Swindon's attention's going to be going on that, and then yeah, the mid pack is so tight together. You got Telford and Peterborough, who I think have had quite similar seasons. They're both on 39 points. You've then got MK and Hull. You were on about, Charlie, and then the playoff battle is so tight. And yeah, once Basingstoke catch up a few games, well, yeah, Bristol, Romford, Basingstoke, and if Solway can get on a run. They are running out of games. They've played a couple more than some teams, but yeah, if they can get on a run, they can be well in the hunt as well. But yeah, another good weekend of hockey, Charlie, and it's going well as a Cats fan at the moment. Let's just hope it continues.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's nice that every team in the league is playing for something in an element. I guess the two
Yeah,
teams you could definitely argue maybe the
and
Hull,
MK.
Telford, and MK. But Hull do have to keep going, otherwise they could get dragged into a playoff race. And same with MK. I'm not saying that they will. They're still quite a distance off that, but it's a streaky league. But yeah, no, I think it's a really good national league this year. Of course, it's easy to say that as a Swindon fan, but I think it's competitive top to bottom. And yeah, I think it's getting to that crunch time of the season where every weekend matters more. It really does, and you're starting to see the playoff groups. So yeah, it's going to be another good weekend fixtures. I think Swindon have got some really challenging fixtures from our perspective. Sheffield at home, Hull away is not an easy weekend.
Yeah,
Then we didn't really mention the DOPS. This podcast is coming out before DOPS announces the bans, I'm guessing.
yeah,
But four Solway players got sent to DOPS and five Basingstoke players. If you
yeah.
haven't seen the clips, there's a lot of clips. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention one thing because we were talking about it in the car the other day, and I know you've mentioned it to me, Charlie, as well. And I wanted to bring up Alex Graham because I think it was his birthday. It was either last week or the week before. And I remember you chatting to me and remember how good Grant Cooper was and the ridiculous points level he was on. Well, in his final season, Alex Graham in the National League, in 36 games, he got 80 points, 40 goals, 40 assists. Oh, we
Uh,
were talking about it in the car on the way to Romford. That is absolutely ludicrous, isn't it, Charlie? And over 2 points a game, 40, getting 40 goals as well. He hasn't just farmed any assists. Honestly, that he was so underrated that season. And yeah, I just thought about it because I think it was his birthday last week. And yeah, that I remember you brought that stat up to me. He had a higher points per game, I think, than Grant Cooper.
he was a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
Just used to dummy Swindon whenever he played us.
He did, didn't he? Yeah. That line is still one of the best lines I've ever seen. Him,
That's
Hewitt,
the best cup line I've ever
and
seen.
Bissonnette
Best cup line I've ever
dumped
seen.
us straight out the playoffs. But yeah, I thought I'd bring that up because what a player Alex Graham was. And that stat is mental. I'll never forget that stat. Thank you again, Jonas Bennett, for hopping on an interview. We finally got one out, and it's a good one as well. Hopefully, we'll get a couple more as the weeks go on. Yeah, next week we will review. Oh, I'm in Canada actually. I'm in Edmonton, so I will take my laptop. See if I have a bit of time. Might not be a podcast episode next week, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, thank you for coming on, Charlie, and we'll see you whenever the next one is. Peace.